Too long, huh? I missed you. This is the highlight of my day.
Long winter?
Getting to see it has been a long winter, way too long of a winter. Great first day. Really excited about just the attitude, the tempo, the way that everybody's working out there. And it's nice when you're in the same offense and defense now for 3 years in a row. As you step out there, everybody can execute everything. You know what I mean? It's not like square one where you're trying to get formations and all the base things. I feel really good about the amount of experience that's out there on that field right now. Guys like a PJ Daniels and a Murray, and you look at that offensive line. We took Damian Edwards from tackle and moved him over to guard to fill that one of those guard spots because of his upperclassman experience. And all of a sudden you start looking at it and you're saying, wow, now all of a sudden how are you going to replace two upperclassmen? And when a guy like Edwards, who's a fifth-year senior, steps into that spot, it makes you feel really comfortable. And just, we're really excited about the attitude and what we're doing out there. We don't throw it and catch it as well as we'd like to, and that's the consistency part is what we got to continue to work on. And we talked about some of those goals yesterday, but I really like the attitude. Came out here, did a lot of competitive drills, did a little bit of one-on-one, a little bit of pass skill, a lot of team apart right now until we put the pads on Saturday. But right now, I love the energy and the spirit and the leadership that the senior class is providing this team right now.
When you have a coordinator change, does it help when you're already familiar with the person?
Very much so. And it's great to get the feedback from the Sam Barringtons and the Dee Lattimores and the Linares, just how smooth the transition's been and how excited they are. It's like Dee said to me, boy, he holds us accountable. Wow. He holds us accountable every little step, minute detail. But Chris, I know what kind of coach we got, I know what kind of person we got, I know what kind of communicator we got, I know what kind of fundamental football coach we got. So from my standpoint, I felt really comfortable that it was going to work because I know so much about Chris, and I just have great respect for him as a coach, as a coordinator, as a person. He was the defensive coordinator at South Carolina when I was the offensive coordinator there. So we got a chance to spend a lot of time together, and I just have great respect for him. And I asked him to learn our defense when he came in here. I said, we've got one thing changed on defense. I don't want to have 50 guys have to learn an entire new defense. I'd rather ask one guy to come in and learn how we're doing things, and a little bit of an adjustment and a change for Chris, but Chris is on board. I mean, he's like, Coach, it's easier for me to learn it than it is to ask them to learn everything. And so the transition for the players has been really smooth, and I think there's great chemistry, great work habits. What's going on right now?
Those minute things, is that what you feel is the only thing missing from last year when things did go wrong late in games?
No, I think one of the things, we've talked a little bit about our depth and how important that was. We've talked to the team about it, how we have to continue to coach that. The thing on defense, just talking about that side of the ball, we feel like we got to get better in our pass defense. There's some things that we got to clean up. We've studied that hard. I think obviously there was enough talent on this football team to win. That's how we got to the lead in 11 out of our 12 games in the fourth quarter. But to lose them the way we did was frustrating. I know it was frustrating for the players, for the coaches, for the administration, for the fan base. I mean, it was frustrating for everybody to be that close. But the attitude and the way these guys are working, I think it's creating that much more resolve and determination to make sure we get it straight. I don't want to hammer or harp on it too much because I don't want it to be something that we kind of browbeat, like don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. We just have to continue to grow from it. But the attitude and the leadership in that locker room right now, I think will help us get there.
I know it's just the first day, but I did see Durden was working with the first team, kind of the first chance out of the gates in terms of that other cornerback spot.
Right. Well, and looking at you've got two junior college players, and today it was Durden, tomorrow it may be Fidel Montgomery, and the next day it may be Josh Brown, and we're going to roll those guys around as I talked to the team about and talked a little bit about yesterday. Right now there is no depth chart. I mean, there is no depth chart. You're going to have, you may see a lot of different guys rolling with the ones, a lot of different guys rolling with the twos, a lot of different guys rolling with the threes right now until we try and find the answers. A couple guys that are the solid lengths. I mean, obviously Kayvon Webster I view as a starter right now. So those other three guys are at that other corner, and we're going to let it play out. We're going to practice until the first scrimmage, and then we'll start to make the decisions on who will be the first, second, and third team. But Kenneth Durden is been impressive. He's really come around. He's done some really good things. He's gained a lot of weight. He's up to 182 pounds, I think is what he is now, coming in for a guy that was 160 some pounds. I mean, he's really made a commitment off the field, and then I've really been impressed with Josh Brown and Fidel Montgomery and the way that they're coming in and working. But that's what you expect out of a junior college player, and so I think all three of those guys are in the mix at corner right now.
How encouraging to see all the injured guys from last year back out there, Jeff Hawkins, Terrence Mitchells.
Yeah, it's Sterling Griffin. I mean, a lot of guys that missed the end of the year, and those guys have been working hard. We talked a little bit about some of the limitations still with Dunkley and Legis with their surgeries that they had, and a couple of the ACLs. But it's great to see so many of those guys back out there. When you finish the season, that injury report was pretty long, and when we went over it the other day in the morning before, as a staff meeting, there's 6 names on it. It's like, wow, can we keep it at this length the whole year? Because it is nice to see those guys back out there. A guy like Jeff Hawkins, who's really missed 2 years. I mean, and to see the attitude that he's got and the way that he's out there working, it's just great to see him out there and the smile on his face. And Sterling Griffin said to me walking off the field, I said, Sterling, how's your day? He said, great, coach. I said, what was great about it? He said, you know what, I'm walking off the practice field. He said, there have been a couple days I hadn't been able to do this. So, I mean, it's those little things sometimes that you take for granted, the way that they're going out there and working. But great group of young men. They're working hard. They got smiles on their face. Their attitudes are great.
Let's get with some of the changes in the rules with kickoffs. You guys
Yes.
spend more time this spring, the shorter run-up period, obviously a different yard line. How much more will you work on that because of that?
It's something that right now I'm having the kickers work more on it than I am the whole cover teams, because we've got to make some decisions on what's the best way to do this. I mean, are you better to kick it out? I understand the NFL moved their kickoff up, but everybody still tried to return it. And the whole mindset of the rule is safety. The whole mindset is to try to protect the player's safety, and the number, I believe it's like 18% of the injuries that happen on a football field occur on 2% of the plays, I think is something what it is, and that's the kickoff and the kickoff return. So they're trying to eliminate the 40 yards of head steam and the large collisions. So we're just going to have to make a decision, are you better to kick it deep in the end zone and take the touchback and start on the 25, or how effective can we be if we pooch it to the 2 or 3 and they run it out to the 18? We're just going to have to look at that and evaluate it. But that's something we'll look at. But we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because I'm not sure how we'll do it yet.
As far as behind BJ, are you open-minded with Eveld and Floyd? Does Eveld's experience have put him any higher in your mind?
Right now, I mean, I look at Bobby Eveld. Bobby Eveld could be pushing for number 1, or he could be sitting at number 3. And right now, Matt Floyd's going to get an opportunity to see where he is. He redshirted last year, so when we went to camp, we made that decision early. Bobby got most of the reps, but right now, with where it is, Bobby's in a boat where he's either going to be competing forward or backwards, because Matt Floyd's going to get an opportunity to run this football team. And we're going to see what he can do with it. But I think right now there's a very healthy competition going on. I'm really pleased with the amount of retention. Obviously, there's a big difference right now between BJ and the growth that he's made mentally as a quarterback and Matt Floyd as a redshirt freshman. When we got here, BJ was where Matt is, and now BJ's made a lot of growth with that. But right now we've got to develop all 3 of those guys. It's not just about the number 1 or just the number 2, but it's about developing 1, 2, and 3, because we could get in the 3rd game and Matt Floyd may be the quarterback, and we got to make sure that we take that approach, that we got to get him ready. We got to get everybody ready right now.
Going across the board, then you're saying, position-wise?
Yes, I mean that's the way we're looking at it. I talked my big harp last year was depth. I mean, I went into camp and I said I think we got 22 that can line up and play. I think our first 22 I feel really good about, but depth was my biggest concern, and unfortunately injury reared its ugly head, and we had some injuries and some guys had to step up, and we did not perform as well as we need to. And I got done talking to them about it today. Our 3s have to become 2s and our 2s have to become 1s. We have to. This spring is about taking the whole team forward, not just a handful of guys and having them develop, but we've got to take the whole team forward.
All right, gang.